Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of Beat This Game Today. Decided to go a little different direction today and do something that probably most people aren't familiar with, and that is doing a bowling game on the NES. I don't know how many bowling games there actually are for this system, but for me this is the only one that I know of. But not only that, this was a big game to me when this came out because when I was younger, I was a bowler, I guess if that's what you want to call it, and I took it pretty seriously, and it was pretty good. So, like anybody who is a bowling fan, you know, I follow the Pro Series and whatnot, and when I heard this game was coming out, it was a big deal to me. It was definitely one of those I went out and got on the day of the release, and I had it, and it's an okay game. Other than nostalgia of being able to play with some of the pros on there and having some pro settings, you know, it wasn't a necessarily terrific game, but I still think nonetheless it was a good game for the time. But I will say one big flaw, and the reason why I'm doing this is how easy it is to get strikes. I would imagine that's probably because they didn't program it correctly from a random engine pointer. I don't know how you would determine that, but essentially, if you were able to figure out the patterns that you needed, you were able to duplicate that, you could pretty much get strikes all the time, which led me to one of the first times and only times that I played at the tournament side of this, where you can do a full like 30 or 60 game tournament, which takes forever, by the way. I pretty much got, you play that many games in a row, it takes you a couple hours. 1, 2, I got pretty much down what I needed to do for the strikes as far as the consistency to get them all the time. And I can't prove it, but I do remember getting multiple, like out of the 60 games I played, 20 of them were 300 games. So, but then of course when I got to the end of the damn game for the tournament, I was the #1 seed because I had like a 180 average, and then I lost that match. That pissed me off. That probably was the last time I played the tournament edition. But to kind of go on here, you'll see me, the easiest way to get 300 games or to be consistent on this is to find a spot where you can get a strikes where you don't move your player back and forth, because that's the variable in this. If you can obviously move your direction where you're aiming the ball, but moving your person is what throws it off. So as you can see here, I've got it designed for the left lane and the right lane. There's two different spots that I stand in based off the idea that I didn't want to have to move my character, and then I just got down the pattern on what the correct power was and spin on each one of those. So now that I had them down, it was pretty easy to bowl a 300 game on this. This is, I believe, the 11th strike. We're going to do one more and it'll be a 300. And I think, just for the points, I don't know if it makes too big a difference. I've never really tested it, but I'm using the original default ball, the Quantum ball, 16 weight, and there it is, 300.
What are you trying to do, take away my job? I'm the demo man.
Now, I don't know, some of you might consider this not to be much of a beat a game, but I mean, I could show you the tournament edition, but you'd fall asleep and it would take me hours and hours to do it, so I'm not going to do it. But just showing you how you bowl a 300 game, or at least bowling a 300 game on here, hey, it works, you know. I'll be back to doing more hard ones later, but to me, this was a fun little thing to do, and it just happened to check it off on my list of games that I want to put on YouTube.